breaking story at the Bay Bridge.
Nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows where he's from. But everybody knows where he's headed.
Watch out for that! Ooh!
Walt Disney Pictures presents
There's 5 apes out there. Which one are we taking to Vegas?
the incredible true story
Checkmate.
The one who's playing chess.
of Ape.
Ow! Tukey! Go find George.
Tuki Tuki,
Another mimosa, Mr. Tuki Tuki?
the lovely Ursula,
You've been head over heels for that ape ever since you brought him here.
You're right. I love him.
and George.
Ape kidnapped? Ape napped?
This summer,
That's your dog?
the king of the jungle is falling in love.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that.
I give you the king of the jungle.
Tree. George of the jungle, friend to you and me.
Walt Disney Pictures and the producers who brought you The Three Musketeers and the Mighty Ducks present George of the Jungle, starring Brendan Fraser, Leslie Mann, Thomas Hayden Church, and John Cleese as the voice of Ape. Directed by Sam Weisman.
There's 5 apes out there. Which one are we taking to Vegas?
Checkmate.
The one who's playing chess.
Ow! Tukey! Go find George.
This summer, the king of the jungle is falling in love.
You've been head over heels for that ape ever since you brought him here.
You're right. I love him.
Ape kidnapped? Ape napped?
Turning the highly popular 1960s cartoon into a live-action feature required filming on location in both Hawaii and San Francisco. In addition, George's treehouse and surrounding jungle were constructed inside a 700-foot airplane hangar.
The set was phenomenal, and we were in there for 2 months and literally felt like we were in a jungle.
It's much bigger than any film we've ever done. You gotta have an ape that talks, and you gotta believe he's real.
I knew Jane Goodall, and you are no Jane Goodall.
You gotta have a lion who wrestles with your leading character. You gotta believe he's real.
To meet the demands of the script, Jim Henson's Creature Shop was given the task of creating several animatronic puppets.
The Hensons were really involved with the movie before even I was, and they built Ape and the other apes that we use, and they also built an animatronic lion head. They just did a great job.
I have had the absolute pleasure of having had worked with Jim Henson's Creature Shop and all the puppeteers and actors and creators and artists who comprise what I would describe as being a troupe.
George of the Jungle was a lot of fun to work on. We wanted this to be a believable world, and yet the characters were going to be doing things that real animals did not do.
By combining animatronics and exhilarating live action, Disney's George of the Jungle takes you on a larger-than-life adventure.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle, friend to you and me.
Brendan Fraser swings into theaters everywhere as George of the Jungle, a live-action comedy based on the popular 1960s cartoon. Playing George required Brendan to be in top physical condition and utilized all of his athletic ability and strength.
The swinging was terrific, good fun. I mean, I came in on the first day and they strapped me into all this stuff. I got flung around in the air and I was having a great old time.
Brendan brought an incredible sense of commitment. You probably couldn't find another actor who could fill the part as well as he did.
There was jumping, diving, rolling, fighting, swimming, running. Some days stunts were created spontaneously.
Brendan had more desire to do things than any young man I've ever worked for. We shot him coming out of the treehouse, running at full scale and jumping out 20 feet and falling to the airbag.
George of the Jungle. Watch out for that!
With its death-defying stunts, sharp brand of humor, and immortal theme song, Disney's George of the Jungle is sure to swing you right out of your seat. Walt Disney Pictures is proud to present George of the Jungle, a live-action comedy with a sharp brand of humor, immortal theme song, and dazzling special effects. Action! The movie tells the story of the lovable George who survives in the jungle thanks to the help of his talking friend, Ape.
What does it want? It wants its physician's desk reference.
Obviously, there's more to Ape than meets the eye. He's actually an actor inside an animatronic costume.
We create a mechanical head close to his face. He's surrounded by little motors and mechanisms that operate the face. So we build a muscle suit that bulks him up. We make artificial arm extensions that make his arms longer. And then we create a hair suit that goes over that muscle suit. And then, of course, we have to make hands for him. We make feet for them. So there's a whole bunch of different pieces that go together to make up an ape costume.
Each animatronic character is literally comprised of an entire support team. These guys have the coolest toys out there.
Providing the voice behind Ape's big muscles is British actor John Cleese.
The ape is the guy who plays chess, you know, and organizes everything. And George is just sweet and a little bit dumb. And I just sensed it was amusing. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the king of the jungle.
This summer, join Ape, Tuki Tuki, Shep, and George as they take you on a larger-than-life adventure.
George of the Jungle, watch out for that tree.
I have had the absolute pleasure of having had worked with Jim Henson's Creature Shop and all the puppeteers and actors and creators and artists who comprise what I would describe as being a troupe, to tell you the truth. The swinging was terrific, good fun. I came in on the first day and they strapped me into all this stuff and I got flung around in the air and I was having a great old time. I just kept asking for more training sessions because I just wanted to swing around in the air. It was great fun. Each animatronic character is literally comprised of an entire support team. It's highly sophisticated material. I mean, these guys have the coolest toys out there. There was jumping and diving, rolling, fighting, swimming, running. Some days stunts were created spontaneously that we weren't expecting. And to which I must credit Phil Adams, our stunt coordinator, who's just been brilliant on the show. George of the Jungle, watch out for that tree! Ah!
she's just trying to do the right thing and figure everything out. She's young and she's engaged to Lyle Vandegroot, and she's trying to do right by her parents, like do what her parents ask, you know, would like her to do by marrying well, and working for her father, and then I think she gets a little. I think she gets a little bored maybe with it all, and doesn't feel right about marrying Lyle. So she goes off in search of adventure. He's real. He's the real thing. He's not, you know, so self-involved like Lyle. And George is interested in Ursula just as much as Ursula is interested in George. And it's because he's a beautiful person. Ty is so beautiful. She's the best. I love her. Her eyes are so beautiful. Anyway, I was standing next to Ty, and her trunk, she just puts her trunk underneath. She put her trunk underneath my butt and kind of picked me up, and then wrapped the rest of her trunk around me and just like lifted me up in the air. It's pretty exciting.
Thor's this American guy who's dressed like a biker, and Max is this, you know, like London kind of post-punk kind of, you know, bother boy, and yeah, but they tell him that they are, you know, experienced guides, so he hires them, and you know, they lead him for the most part where he needs to be, but because they're poachers, they're not guides. You know. My job in this movie is to play a guy who's comically, you know, threatening, and so you know, I mean, I've changed so much of the dialogue, and you know, but you know, to, you know, enhance how my interpretation of the character. And Sam has been enormously receptive and encouraging, you know, but at the same time, Sam has a very strong comedy background. He worked on Family Ties. He's directed, you know, half-hour comedy, which is the, you know, the body of my acting has been in television comedy, and so Sam and I come from the same world.
I'm Abraham Ben-Ruby, and I have been blessed with the role of Thor, one of two poachers who capture George of the Jungle's friend, the talking ape. And Thor is sort of a big, goofy thug, basically. Sort of the Chewbacca to Greg's Han, if you will. Scoundrels, rapscallions, pirates.
Well, I'm Greg Crutwell, and I play Max, who is from the East End of London, and he's basically after making a fast buck, and teams up with Thor, his partner in crime. And I think Max sees himself very much as the brains of the twosome, and for him Thor is in it basically to carry the luggage, do all the donkey work, and do anything that Max you know, desires him to do. As I say, it's a case of Max, in his terms, it's a case of Max being the brains and Thor being the brawn. I don't think we're regular jungle dwellers, but as I say, the bottom line is it's a case of making a fast buck and hearing about this white ape, something that other people may not be onto. You know, that's what brings us to the jungle.
It's sort of like we were in the city, and Max came up to Thor and said, "I've heard this amazing story about a white ape. We've got to go right now. We've got to get on the plane immediately." And Thor, of course, lured by the buck, jumps on the plane. So we show up in our, you know, city gear, I'm in black leather, for goodness sake. And
that's Thor.
That's me. Yes, no black
Max
leather
is
for
in
you.
cotton, Thor is in the black leather, and having to carry all the heavy packs. All Max has to carry is his water bottle.
Yes.
That's part of the agreement between the two of them. Now, when you're playing a scene with this ape and he's looking at you and you're talking to him, I mean, it is so real.
It's an ape. I mean, you forget easily, very easily you forget how that it's a man inside a suit with a machine head. The Henson Creature Shop, they've done an amazing job. I mean, the ape's skin looks like skin. They come in and give him a little Vaseline on his lip, and you can honestly forget that it's even an act. I mean, it's an ape. It's really cool.
That whole experience of, as I say, doing something like that, which one hasn't as an actor done before, is, you know, is part of the joy of acting.
Yeah.
And the whole experience on this film is, you know, filled with stuff like that.
It's very fun. The whole project is fun. I mean, we've built a jungle inside an aircraft hangar, for goodness sakes. I mean, it's ridiculous. This is Hollywood. This is as Hollywood gets these days.
Beatrice, and my daughter's name is Ursula. It's sort of a very poetic kind of name, Beatrice, and she would like to think of herself as being lovely and beautiful and gracious, but she's one of those women who has an iron fist inside a velvet glove. And sometimes it comes out. Boom! To see Brendan, a very delightful young man, constantly miss what he is swinging for and hit into something else. And in one case, it's a three-tiered cake, a wedding cake, which he splatters over, you know, everyone within miles. And so there's fabulous stunts, animation, which is, in this day and age, spectacular, in people in animal suits, and jewels by Van Cleef and Arpels. Why wouldn't America flock to this movie?
Arthur Stanhope is a patriarch of the Stanhope family. We live in this quaint little country home here, very elegant San Francisco family, and my daughter, Ursula, meets and falls in love with George of the Jungle. George is completely naive and unspoiled. He's very smart. You can see this demonstrated by the fact that he can imitate and repeat things instantly. But a babe in the woods is what he is, and initially my character is bothered by this. I mean, you don't want your daughter running off with this, but there is an inner beauty, for lack of a better term, that George has that you would like to be in any man who hooks up with your daughter.
Well, you see, the funny thing about it all is how little time I'm here. That is to say, I read the script, and I really thought the script was clever. And I met Audrey Wells, who did, I think, the last draft on it. Very clever young woman. And once the script attracts me, then I'm kind of on board. It's a very simple reversal to make the ape bright. The ape is the guy who plays chess, you know, and organizes everything. And George is just sweet and a little bit dumb. And I just sensed it was amusing. And once that happened, we all relaxed. And then we had, in that dreadful showbiz cliche, we all just had a good time.
The George and Ape relationship is kind of a brother, older brother, younger brother relationship. Ape has obviously been his tutor, his mentor, and kind of a coach, advises him on emotional matters of the heart. And obviously, the part of the movie, the part of their relationship that took place before the movie, Ape raised George. The Hensons were really involved with the movie before even I was, and they built Ape and the other apes that we use, and they built a Tukey puppet, even though we primarily used live toucans to be Tukey. And they also built an animatronic lion head, or half a lion, a stuffy lion, and they just did a great job. I think the film will exist on a few different levels. I think for kids, they're going to be in love with Brendan and how appealing he is, and they're going to love the animals, and they're going to love the tricks and the stunts, and Shep, the elephant, who thinks he's a dog, an ape, and all that. But I think for older people, you know, couples, teenagers, whatever, I think they're going to enjoy it's kind of got a subversive sense of humor to it. The romance, I think, is really real and very appealing. So I really think it's got something for everybody. George of the jungle, friend to you and me. Ooh! Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that tree. Brendan brought an incredible sense of commitment to playing this character. I mean, he just truly believed in the character every sense of the way, and really, he believed in the character every step of the way, and really became sort of the gauge and kind of the measure for who George was, and you know, what he believed in, and just he would be willing to try anything. And from a physical point of view, you probably couldn't find another actor who could fill the part as well as he did physically.
The idea of George of the Jungle, there's always been something endearing about the character and about the song. And in my childhood growing up, I just loved loved a guy swinging into a tree, the inept sort of Tarzan. So when we were able to fashion something that took advantage of both him in the jungle, him in the city, and framing that around a love story, it seemed like it had just about everything, you know, we wanted. Hopefully have had a really fun ride. What I care most about is that they came, had a really fun ride, and walk out humming the song. The set was phenomenal, and an incredible experience to see it take this vacant hangar at Howard Hughes and Playa Vista and turn it into a jungle, which is what we did. We turned the thing into a jungle. It was, you know, built on wood and concrete, and then filled with sand, the entire thing. I mean, it was like over a football field long, and huge trees and sykes, and we were in there for 2 months, and literally felt like we were in a jungle.
You go along for a long period of time, and your learning curve is sort of, you know, like this. And it's always so steadily moving up. I always learned something on every movie. On this movie, it was like this. Shooting here in Hawaii has been a fabulous experience for us, tied into our stage work, tied into our work in Northern California and the American River. Hopefully we've put together a very intricately woven fabric that will be touching and sweet and funny and adventurous, and something that clearly we trust that the American audience and audiences everywhere are going to love.
It's much bigger than any film we've ever done. You got to have an ape that talks, and you got to believe he's real. You got to have a lion who wrestles with your leading character. You got to believe he's real.
Yeah, this is a big one, isn't it? It's a big set. It's about 350 feet long. It's about 50 feet high and 100 feet wide. Yeah. It's a multi-purpose set. It works for several things. Works for George's treehouse area and also general jungle. We also looked at the old Tarzan movies, 30s and 40s pictures that have a sort of a slightly they have a slightly sort of swoony quality that we kind of liked, and we tried to incorporate that into the design of the picture. Even though it's a modern film, it does have that kind of slightly daffy feeling that those old pictures had, and so we wanted to try and get that if we could. There's a lot of plants here. There's about 50 varieties of plants, and it took about 550 cubic yards of dirt, 120 cubic yards of concrete to build this thing. So you're standing on concrete over a wood frame. And you're about 8 feet off the ground right now.
They had a live-action elephant that they wanted to intermix with the computer-generated elephant that we're going to create. And for the live-action elephant, it was decided that we'd do some 2D manipulations, and we add a tongue and some eye manipulations in order to try to tie it together with some of the wild behaviors that we're doing with our 3D, completely computer-generated elephant.
We create a mechanical head that's based entirely around the performer's head. It's very close to his face. He's surrounded by little motors and mechanisms that operate the face. So we build a muscle suit that bulks him up, that cheats the relationship of his limbs. We make artificial arm extensions that make his arms longer. And then we create a hair suit that goes over that muscle suit. And then, of course, we have to make hands for him. Again, these are sculpted upon the hands of the performer because he's going to use these hands. He has to have contact through the fingers. He's got to know what he's doing. We make feet for them. And we also make things that are called knuckle walkers, which are because gorillas are quadruped a lot of the time, and they walk on their hands, we make these special arm extensions for them to walk on so they can wander around on all fours. So there's a whole bunch of different pieces that go together to make up an ape costume. George of the Jungle was a lot of fun to work on, and it was an interesting concept because we were making the live-action version of a cartoon, but yet we wanted to establish it in the real world. We wanted this to be a believable world, and yet the characters, particularly the animal characters, which was, you know, the part that we were involved with, were going to be doing things that real animals did not do.
George of the Jungle, we are doing a variety of things. The primary function that we're taking care of is creating an elephant called Shep, which is George's pet, and Shep thinks he's a dog. And he should appear like no elephant you've ever seen before in a film. And it's really a lot of fun. And the project is a lot of fun. The filmmakers are fun, and they're a very talented group. They have a very good sense of the story and the characters and who Shep should be, and they've provided us with some really creative opportunities, and our goal is to pull that off and make people smile and laugh, hopefully.
Brendan had more desire to do things than any young man I've ever worked for. We shot him coming out of the treehouse, running at full scale and jumping out 20 feet and falling to the airbag.
I've been going into music stores for years and years and going over to the synthesizers, to the timpani section, the timpani setting on the synthesizer, going boom, 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 boom. It's always been a fun thing to do on a rainy Sunday, so it's good to do it as a job. We read the script too, and it was funny.
The apes got moves.
I actually read the script and laughed almost every page.
I laughed out loud, actually.
When we did it. Actually, we just finished the lyrics. We're here in the studio, and we just finished the lyrics here in the studio.
George of the Jungle, strong as he can be. George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that bang. Ooh, tree. George of the jungle, watch out for that tree. George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle lives a life that's free. Watch out for that tree. When he gets in a scrape, he makes his escape with help from his friend, an ape named Ape. And his elegant chef can fetch a log. He's man's best friend, he's George's dog. He's George of the jungle. George
like this, Ursula!
George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George of the George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that bang. Ooh, tree. George of the jungle. Watch out for that tree.
Slowly, but really nothing.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be.
I remember George.
George.
Look, I don't know what you're talking about, but can we just go?
Watch out for that tree. When he gets in a scrape, he makes his escape with help from his friend, an ape named Ape. And his elegant chef can fetch a log. He's man's best friend, he's George's dog. He's George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George of the George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that bang. Ooh, tree.
And turn out, Brendan and Leslie.
George of the jungle. Watch out for that tree.
And just no wave, just look out, and look at each other.
Arthur, I wish you'd do something about all these monkeys. I feel like Jane Goodall.
Madam, I knew Jane Goodall, and you are no Jane Goodall.
Watch out for that tree. When he gets in a scrape, he makes his escape with help from his friend, an ape named Dave. And his elegant chef can fetch a log. He's man's best friend, he's George's dog. George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George of the jungle.
Wind up. Wind up. Hit it. Good. Stand up straight. Bow.
Okay, jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that bang. Ooh, tree.
Yes, it's me.
George of the jungle. Watch out for that tree. his escape with help from his friend, an ape named Dave. And his elephant chef can fetch a log. He's man's best friend, he's George's dog. He's George of the jungle. 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 George of the jungle.
48 and 51. Good, ready? Here we go. Rolling the camera.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that bang. Ooh, tree.
Excellent. Okay, let's think about
George of the jungle, watch out for that tree.
You guys do anything?
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle lives a life that's free. Watch out for that tree. When he gets in a scrape, he makes his escape with help from his friend, an ape named Dave. And his elephant chef can fetch a log. He's man's best friend, he's George's dog. Rolling. George of the jungle. 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 George.
Got it.
George of the jungle. George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that bang. Ooh, tree. George of the jungle, watch out for that tree.
Try one more. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. What? Rodney, any suggestions?
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle lives a life that's free. Watch out for that tree. When he gets in a scrape, he makes his escape with help from his friend, an ape named Dave. And his elephant chef can fetch a log. He's man's best friend, he's George's dog. George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George.
You mean you and
the jungle. George of the jungle. George.
Look, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you just go?
This one I break away? Okay. George
of the jungle. George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that bang. Ooh, tree. George of the jungle. Watch out for that tree.
Would you like a little air?
George of the jungle, strong as he can be.
right now? Talk about this guy.
Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle lives a life that's free. Watch out for that tree. When he gets in a scrape, he makes his escape with help from his friend, an ape named Dave. And his elephant chef can fetch a log. He's man's best friend, he's George's dog.
Great, stay down up there.
George of the jungle. George of the jungle.
Yeah, speeding.
3, 2, 1, up!
We see that.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. tree.
You have to hold it down. You have to hold it down.
Leo the lion. How are you? George, and with his controllers here, as he can be. Anything animatronic going on there? Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle lives a life that's free. Watch out for that tree. When he gets in a scrape, he makes his escape with help from his friend, an ape named Ape. And his elephant chef can fetch a log. He's man's best friend, he's George's dog. He's George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George of the jungle.
Somewhere else, of course, this hand is like, so once it's inside, it's
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that bang. Ooh, tree. George of the jungle. Watch out for that tree.
you know the people that
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle lives a life that's free. Watch out for that tree. When he gets in a scrape, he makes his escape with help from his friend, an ape named Ape. And his elephant chef can fetch a log. He's man's best friend, he's George's dog. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that bang. Ooh, tree. George of the jungle. Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle lives a life that's free. Watch out for that tree. When he gets in a scrape, he makes his escape with help from his friend, an ape named Ape. And his elephant chef can fetch a log. He's man's best friend, he's George's dog. He's George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George of the jungle. George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that bang. Ooh, tree. George of the jungle. Watch out for that tree.
You want a white ape? I'll get you a white ape. Monkey, monkey, monkey.
Yeah, gorilla, gorilla. Come on.
Don't move.
You mean I actually found one? It worked? Wanna go? Go on.
God, that scared me.
Scared me too. I'm gonna go get help. You wait here!
Oh, no, don't worry. Ape friend. Ape, make your breakfast.
What does it want? What does it want?
It wants its physician's desk reference, if you don't mind. Unless you'd rather die of dengue fever, of course.
That is very funny.
Oh, oh, oh.
I thought I heard the monkey talk. But that is totally understandable, right? I mean, why wouldn't an ape read textbooks, and why wouldn't I find myself in a treehouse with room service and a Tarzan wannabe wearing a,
Okay, George, help. Get trusty Doggy.
Oh, you have a dog. That's great.
Doggy would help find friends. George calls Shep. Shep! Hey, boy! Come on! Here, boy! Shep! Here comes Shep. Come on, Shep! Come on, boy! Atta boy! Wanna play? Come on, boy! Come on! Come on! Good boy! Come on, boy! Come on! Good boy, Shep! Come on! Stop! Sit! Good boy! Good obedience training. George trained from pup.
That's your dog?
This Shep, George's big, great, peanut-loving Poochie. Good boy, Shep! Good boy! Good boy, Shep! Good boy! Good boy! Want a shake? Swing, swing, swing. Come on! Want George of Jungle to tell you special vine swinging secrets?
Fine. Tell me all your secrets.
George's Secrets. There's the shortest book ever written.
Wrap it around your sock for special George of Jungle footlock. Now ready to try again?
No.
Like this, Ursula!
We fly through the air with the greatest of ease. I'm a daring young man on the flying trapeze.
Look, no hands!
It's so graceful, all girls he could please. And with love he is swinging away. We fly through the air.
That's pretty good.
Greatest of ease.
George, watch out for that!
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the king of the jungle. George's Secret. There's the shortest book ever written.
George, George, George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. George, George, George of the jungle lives a life that's free. Watch out for that tree. When he gets in a scrape, he makes his escape with help from his friend, an ape named Dave. And his elegant chef can fetch along. He's the man's best friend, he's George's dog. He's George, George, George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. George, George, George of the jungle, friend to you and me. Watch out for that tree. Hear him holler, swing and sing. All the animals come to the Jungle King. So grab a vine and swing in time. And he just pay no mind. Like George, George, George of the jungle. 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 Swing from tree to tree. Watch out for that tree. George, George, George of the jungle lives a life that's free. Watch out for that tree. Lost in the wild was a baby with a smile named George who stayed for quite a while. And George grew up in the trees above. When Ursula found him, they found love. She took him to the city, took him straight downtown, but the concrete cliffs brought poor George down. So it's back to the jungle for a wedding in the green for the king and queen of the animal scene. George, George, George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that bang, ooh, tree. George, George, George of the jungle, watch out for that tree.
Starts Wednesday, July 16th.